I would like to provide a brief overview of how the UBIRCH ESG Exchange Network operates and the essential use cases that can be accomplished using it. We start with the company profile. The idea is that in this system, every company that wants to declare emissions has an account. There is a range of legal information available, but above all, companies can submit their ESG certification or specific commitments, such as SBTI, giving an initial impression of how committed the company is to sustainability. And then there are two crucial functions present in the system that assist companies in establishing a more modern and efficient footprint management process. On one hand, it is true that the CSRD necessitates actively involving suppliers and acquiring emission statements from them in order to comply with the regulations. And this is achievable here via the supplier module. Suppliers have the ability to be added here. Here is an example of company Mahle, which is a major supplier in the automotive industry within our demo system. And one can see how Mahle here, Weidmüller, for example, a manufacturer of industrial electronics, Gunvor, a mineral oil supplier, etc., to consistently and continuously clarify the Scope 3 footprint more and more in the form of concrete and specific statements provided by suppliers. And whenever there is a blue hyperlink available in this location, there is an emissions disclosure from this supplier that is already stored in the system. This facilitates the suppliers to be listed. Suppliers that are not present can be added through the utilization of this particular function. In the event that a company is not found in the system, it can be documented here as a missing company, indicating its absence from the system. And you have the option to provide an email address, which will then be sent, and the person who receives the email will be sent an invitation to participate in the system and disclose their emissions. In such a case, a refinery like this one is marked as pending, and only when the person or the company has submitted the data, the status changes to available, as can be seen here. And now what can be done with this data? The concept of CSRD is to construct the Scope 3 report by utilizing real primary data that is available. This implies we can perform different aggregations here as we refer to it, for instance the GHG report for a particular year. And when I open it up, you can see that here simply the 15 categories of the greenhouse gas protocol are listed in this document, a reporting period and a title. However, the unique aspect at this moment is that I am not only able to input or approximate data, but when I click on the Edit button, I have the ability to include what are known as contributions. That means I am searching for suppliers once more. Let's consider Weidmüller here, which I mentioned previously. After that, I will need to verify which emission disclosures are available from this particular provider. Now, for instance, I possess a carbon footprint at this time. I will select the more recent one. After that, I need to indicate the percentage of services I have acquired from this provider. In this instance, it is regarding the quantity of euros. Let's assume I purchased items from Weidmüller for a total of 50,000 euros. Then you can observe here that a carbon dioxide equivalent is directly computed for this contribution. What sets this system apart is that this CO2 statement is not derived from just any emission factor or an estimate, but it is derived from the specific data that Weidmüller has deposited in the system, which makes it unique and differentiates it from other systems in the market. And that's why I can now add contribution here, close it, and you can see how in the category of cloud computing and data center, Weidmüller is listed with these 0.797 tons of CO2 equivalents. And in this way, I am able to consistently expand my Scope 3 by using more and more primary data to calculate my emission footprint. This has two effects. First, the report becomes more precise because the data is no longer estimated but derived from specific measurement data provided by each supplier. And the reduction effect is stronger because the supplier realizes their data is being used, they are requested to provide the data, and they also see it in the report. And as research clearly shows, this has a strong activation effect and already leads to reduction measures on the supplier side. Yes, this is how I build my footprint, and as a final step, I have to make a disclosure. A disclosure is a publication of emission data. There I can choose from various options provided in the greenhouse gas protocol. I can publish a corporate carbon footprint, product carbon footprints for different product lines, or my footprint at the level of branches, subsidiaries, and the like. And when I do that, like here with Company Male providing their revenue and total emission data, then I am once again discoverable for other companies in the system who receive services from me, and they can calculate shares automatically without having to write emails or make calls, transferring and incorporating that into their emission reports, thus also providing more accurate reports and having better control options at hand. Now, let's take a final brief look at how these disclosures, which are the core of the platform, actually appear in real life and provide valuable insights for users. First, I will make a disclosure that has already been published in the system. You can see various features here. On the one hand, we use standard data formats such as QR codes. However, the data can also be downloaded in other formats. The QR code contains the complete dataset that constitutes the disclosure, including all Scope 1, 2, and 3 information, as well as a digital signature or, for example, a certification that the company has also provided. The QR code can be printed excellently on invoices, utilized in tenders, and so forth, providing comprehensive emission disclosures in a format that can be read by machines. But let's briefly talk about the disclosure itself. So here we see what kind of disclosure it is. Is it a corporate carbon footprint or a product carbon footprint or something similar? What data source is the basis here, or which standard was used? There are various options that can be specified here, and there is an allocation method stored, i.e., a method to be able to automate share calculations. In this case, it is the total revenue of the company. And then you observe the Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions as they have been compiled accordingly. It may be of interest to observe, in the event that I proceed with a disclosure that is currently ongoing, what configurations can be adjusted in this context, whether the data should be utilized as location or market-based at the time when automated allocations are carried out. It is also possible to observe here that the supplier-specific emission factor is computed in both location and market-based. And then at this point, I have the ability to manually input the data, which includes Scope 1, 2, and 3 in their respective categories, as you can see here. But I can also, as you can see here, connect an aggregation like we demonstrated previously with this disclosure, so that the numbers in the disclosure actually originate from the supplier aggregation we conducted earlier. This way I receive a very precise emissions report. I can share it in a machine-readable format. It is digitally signed, wonderfully auditable as a result, and I significantly enhance my CSRD reporting,